Well, good morning and good day to everyone. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Fernando?
I'm doing good.
Look at that shiny car right there.
That's like a motorcycle.
It's like a motorcycle, just with 3 wheels. So wouldn't that be more of a trike?
Tricycle?
Yeah, just backwards. So here's what we got. Let's take a look at this bad boy, shall we? Now this actually already has a stereo in it. It has 4 of these, 2 on each side, and it's got some tubbies up here. There's amps underneath these seats. There's a subwoofer back here behind this seat, and he has a touchscreen already in the dash. The problem is, sounds great, but he's not happy with the wiring job. To be fair, he did it himself, and he's like, you know what, guys? I watch your videos, I love your wiring, fix all my wiring for me, please. And we were like,
we love to.
The plan today is to go ahead and get this car all apart, and then figure out what he's got, figure out what we can reuse, figure out what we have to throw away, you know, just all the fun stuff. So this is kind of like a 911 video, but not really, because it's his. He did it. He knows what's bad. You ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Join us as we refab this slingshot. Let's get going. Ding, ding. First step was to go ahead and get the seats out and get the battery disconnected. For those of you guys that have never done one of these, let me show you where the battery's at. The battery's located right here. There's a panel that just unscrews a couple clips and it drops down. We have it sitting over here. I've already taken out the one amplifier that was here. That amplifier is gonna stay, but as you can see, this is why he wants to redo it, is this stuff right here. All this. It won't look anything like this when we're done. We have it all apart. So let's take a look and see what we've done. So we've gone ahead and removed the radio, the top of the dash. To get the top of the dash out, we had to remove this top roll bar here because of the way this is all screwed in through this guy right here. We took the floor pans out just because we were thinking it's gonna be easier to run wires through this area here because we got a bunch of wires we have to run. Because his speakers, like we said, are the kickers and they have the lights in them. So there's 6 wires that has to go to each speaker. Now he had the amplifiers mounted here and here. More than likely, that's probably where they're gonna stay. We don't know yet. And then the subwoofer was here. We went ahead and removed that baffle. So that's where we're at right now. Dark outside. We had this the last 2 hours of the day. We're going home. We're gonna start on it fresh in the morning when it's light. Let's do a fade to black and then you guys can rejoin us. And we're back. As you can see, it's nice and bright. The sun is out. So Fernando's doing a quick radio install on the Sebring that we had on the schedule for this morning. So we're getting that out of the way. We took a couple more pieces apart on this when I got in because we have a lot of wiring that we're doing in here and I wanted to find the best way to do it. So went ahead and pulled out this back area here and pulled out that pocket where we're probably going to mount the amps just to get better access to figure out how we're going to run the wiring through here. I want to be able to come up the center console with the factory harness into the radio. I also want to see if I can figure out a way to insulate this because it's just an open hole. So we got a lot we need to do today to get done with this thing today. We only have today to work on it, so it's all got to get done. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to grab the pocket. I want to figure out where I'm gonna mount these amplifiers, see if they fit in there because he still has a helmet he might want to still put in there. Once Fernando gets done with the Sebring, he's gonna go ahead and start running wires through this. Before they just had the wires draped down, you know, there wasn't anything holding this stuff in place. We want to drill through the bar here and then have it come out somewhere, and then we're going to add a connector so that you can disconnect the whole thing if and when he takes the roll bar off so that he doesn't have to, you know, have live speaker wires chilling out. It's a long list, so let's get started, shall we? We have the Kenwood 5-channel marine amp is going to power the 4 speakers in the sides and the subwoofer in the back. And then we have a Rockford TM400/2AB And the reason why we chose this amp is because it is capable of using a remote bass knob, the PLC2. We want to be able to have control for the tower speakers because right now they're too loud and we need to be able to basically have some form of control for all the speakers. Let's cut to a front angle so that we can actually see what we got going on here. Both the amps fit nicely in the pocket. I'm thinking we'll be able to make a ABS panel that'll just slide into place and then we can put some bolts through it to hold it into this pocket. And then all the power will go out the back here. The battery conveniently is located underneath this, so that'll be nice. We'll need some form of power distribution. Probably slide this forward. We'll have this area right back here that we can do that. The RCAs can dump out here. Yeah, I think this is a winner. Let's take some measurements, figure out what kind of plastic we want to use to build this, and then we can slide it out, mock it up, and then put it back in place. So we have our panel made. It's the basic shape that we came up with. You saw we just traced it from the outside. Slides right into place. A couple things that we have to keep in mind on this. This is actually part of the car. On the back here, this is all actually the exterior side of the vehicle. This is where the rear panel screws into these things here. So we have to be thinking constantly about what we're doing so that if we drill holes, it's not sticking out of the side. Now we can go ahead and set this aside for right now while we mock up our amplifier. We're gonna go ahead and write on our panel so that we know what side is which, just in case we get called away. So for this, we're gonna use this guy right here. This is the Stinger SPD570. It's a ground and power distribution. That way we can just run a ground and power out to the battery to power this guy up. We're gonna use the Stinger 4000 series RCAs. These guys just need some 6-footers. We're gonna go up the center console like we said. So now we just need to get this amp have this all set and ready to go. We're going to drill 2 holes. Now we'll have to get the wire, all these wires loomed up, and then we can get this into the car. So what we're going to do now is add some foam around the hole so it doesn't leak back in. For that, we're going to use some of the Stinger Ultimate. Alright, so we're filling the hole with some of the 3M strip caulk so that it doesn't get any water in here. Pretty tight, but we just want to make sure that nothing gets in. Alright, at this point we have this all in place. We can go ahead now and take this over to the car and start running our wires. So Fernando said, hey, come check this out. So let's go check it out. Got him in?
Yeah.
So what did we end up doing?
Make a hole in here. Make a hole in the corner.
Yeah? Pull the wire through.
Okay, pull the wire through.
We have the end here. Now we went ahead and put it on the passenger side. It's all loomed up across the back. We're going to run the wires through the center console with our RCAs, and then we're going to put the connection right here. Fernando's going to go ahead and pull all the speakers out of the boxes because they're falling out in some cases, so we have to come up with a better way to mount them. Did you figure out what's going on with these?
Yes.
What was the problem?
The holes.
The holes?
Yes.
What about the holes?
They use...
Isn't the hole always the problem?
I know.
What do they use? What happened?
They use like 1 inch plus the grill, the speaker, and the fiberglass, the pod. It doesn't hold nothing.
Oh.
See, they use this one. It's not even the screw. They not even go through.
Okay, well then they definitely fall out. So it's pre-drilled though, right?
Yeah,
there.
this is apparently the factory ones.
Okay.
So that's what we want to use.
So you got some longer screws?
I got some 2 inch.
It's amazing what an extra inch will give you.
I know, right? It's always an inch, buddy.
So we'll get those screwed in right so they won't fall out anymore. That'll be a big plus. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this hole in the dash here. So for this, he has this JVC in here, perfectly fine radio, works great. He just wants Android Auto, so we're gonna go with this MVH 2300. Now this is the kit he has. He's modified it a little bit to get into the dash. This will fit in there, but really snug, so there's no way you're doing a motorized one in this particular. It's got this cool little door that comes over it like this. It's supposedly some form of a splash guard. But what we want to do is we want to get this mounted in here, and then there's like an 1/8 inch gap all the way around where they put these spacers. These guys right here, there's little tiny spacers all the way around to ride the thing. What I'm thinking I'm going to be able to do is make some kind of a bottom splash guard by taking advantage of those gaps. So we'll get this mounted, get it in the car, and start cutting some plastic to see if we can't make this a little bit splash proof. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually start with the bottom and make a lip that comes out. I just need to measure how much depth I have to do that. So it looks like there's about an inch gap between this and the back. Cut a piece about 6 inches by 7. Alright, this thing is all set. We put some foam across the back because there is 1 or 2 wires that are coming up behind here, so we want to make sure we insulate that too. Should work good. Let's get it in the car. So we have the amps mounted in place. We started putting the back together, adding the floor pans. Let's take a look at it real quick. The amps are mounted. We ran the wire, like we said, the signal wire and the speaker wire for the top are run up through here. The sub wire's in. Here's the wires for that side, along with the light wire is also in there. This side is going in. I already have this floor pan back in. Fernando got the battery all hooked up, and what we did in this is we ran a ground down here to the actual ground, and then here's our fuse holder here. We didn't try to ground it some other place, we just took it to the battery's ground. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the back of this car put back together.
I can hook it up with.
That's fine. You can do it. Alright guys, we are in the home stretch as far as getting this thing back together. We just got the roll cage on. I'm finishing putting the dash back together. Fernando's working on the last speaker. Now, one thing we did have to do is we had to pause and take about an hour to redo something. The whole purpose of using the Rockford amp in this was because it was the only one that had a volume knob. What we found out is that the PLC2 is a bass knob, not a volume knob. So if you're doing one of these little 402s and you're thinking it's gonna be a volume knob, it's not. So we had to take it all back apart, yeah, the whole thing, so that we could run another RCA and put a LC little volume control in the dash in place of the PLC2. So that really set us back a lot. As you can see, it's really dark outside. So where we're at right now, I just put these two little pieces on here. I just finished screwing the roll cage in. This was the connector that we made here. So this is gonna tuck up inside of this. What Fernando's doing is he is attaching the last connector right here. We used for the lights, you know, it's a 4-conductor, so we used one of the 4-conductor pins like we did underneath the hood, and then we used a 2-conductor pin because I didn't know this was actually coming in today, or probably would have ordered something with 6-conductor. You know, every pod will be removable, so that's what you've been seeing Fernando wiring up, is getting those plugs set in there. I'm pretty excited. We're almost to the point to where we can actually see the lights and hear it. I'm gonna finish screwing this thing back together and we'll check back in a couple minutes. So we got the seat back in, as you can see. I'm gonna wait a little bit because he's got to solder some wires, so I don't want to turn it on until he's done with that. More soldering. I know, right? Other than that, we have the car back together because it is ultra dark and late. Get the heck out of here. Sound good, Fernando?
Oh, sounds amazing.
There you go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to... Wait a minute. We haven't finished the other show. It's still here. So check it out. We were here late last night. I don't know how much of it we actually filmed. You just watch that. What we have to do this morning before this thing can get the heck out of here is put the passenger seat in, tune it, do polarity check, all that fun stuff, see how it sounds, let you guys see it, and get it gone. First thing on the list is I'm gonna help Fernando get the seat in, then I'm gonna do some other stuff. So let's get rocking, shall we? Watch the bottom. Got a beat, you know more things to it. Alright, so this side of the car is green, that side of the car is red. All right, so somehow red on one side, green on the other. We're gonna fix it real quick. Awesome. Good. All right, we're good. We have them all going the same direction. Yay. We're almost there.
Yeah, almost. Not yet.
All right, we got this one the way we want it. It's all good. We're gonna do a software update. Get it out of here. While it's doing the software update though, I'm gonna show you all the little things that we did. So give me 1 second. So when this came in, these things were just screaming because they were getting powered off of a small amplifier and there was no level control. So we added in its own little amplifier and put a volume knob to control it right here. So now when he's driving down the road, if he wants these super hot, they can be. If he wants to turn them down because they're right there behind his head, he can. He's got these 4 guys right here that we rewired. They got the cool lights, so we ran all of that. All of these have their own connection so that if he needs to service it, they'll just unplug and plug back in. So it makes it real easy to work on there. And of course, last but not least, we went ahead and mounted the amplifiers inside of here. We have the cool Rockford that's powering these up there. This little 5 channels, what he had, that's powering everything else. And of course we swapped out the radio because he wanted CarPlay, so it's got the 2330 in it, doing the software update. All right guys, so there's the SlingShot. What do you think, Fernando? Can't wait to do the next one. All right, this was fun. It was a lot of fun. If you got a SlingShot and you want us to do it, swing it on by. We'll take care of it. And with that, you guys have a great night as always.
See you later. Bye.